And so when I say Chinese, I want you to scream out the nation that's associated with this. For example, if I say Chinese, you're going to say what?
China.
All right, let's say it with authority. When I say Chinese, you say what? China. All right, that's just a test right there. So here we go. Chinese.
China.
Russian.
Russia.
Italian.
Italy.
German.
Germany.
Swedish.
Sweden.
Korean.
Korea.
Egyptian.
Egypt.
Nigerian.
Nigeria.
Black.
Exactly. Nothing. Tell him, Pastor. Tell him, Pastor. Black, nothing.
I hope you were able to successfully identify the issue.
I want to say peace and blessings to everyone. My apologies for my tardiness. We had Bible study tonight. Let me pull this mic closer to me, or let me get closer to the mic. Had Bible study tonight, so I'm running a little bit behind. We have a lot to cover tonight, but before I get started, I want to start off by sharing a couple of clips here. Some clips that you guys are familiar with, but I want to share these clips here, and I'm sharing these clips for a reason. I'm going to tie all of this together. Let me see here. All right, so I'm going to play a couple of clips here, and then we'll get into the lesson here. All right, so again, and we'll give shout outs to everyone as well. So let's go ahead and start off with these clips, and then we'll get it going here in a second. Here we go.
This gentleman right here. Huh? What happened? No, this the gentleman right here with the camera in his hand. Wave your hand. Pastor.
James Wesley Carr.
Yeah, James Wesley Carr. No. What's your name?
Oh, Kelly Richardson.
Kelly Richardson.
Pastor Kelly Richardson.
He is a great grand nephew.
Yeah.
Nephew of one of our first pastors. Yeah, as a matter of fact, that's his uncle right here in the corner of the actual stained glass window here to your left.
He got the eyes.
It looked just like him. Got the same eyes. Anyway, come on, guys. Come on. That's funny. Stand up there looking like. Look on the outside edge of the pews. Look on the outside edge of the pews where you are. You see the different markings alongside the edge of the pews? They represent the different tribes that made up our congregation back then and spoke over 6 different languages among themselves. These were small tribes enslaved by larger tribes and sold to Europeans as they came along the African coast. One of the major languages they spoke back then was that of Aramaic and also two of Hebrew, which means the writings read from bottom to top. Assalamu alaikum. Which means peace be unto you. It's not a Muslim term. It's actually the same greeting which Christ gave into the disciples when he met them in that region. Most countries in that region read from right to left. Here in America, we read from left to right. That's why the pastors in the stained glass window up front here are going in numbers 2 through 7 from the right-hand side over to the left, to the left, to the left, to the left.
This is First African Baptist Church, the oldest black church in North America. The building, built by slaves. The gentleman that laid the first brick laid the last. The balcony hold pews that actually were built by slaves. They have the oldest information in this building. That information is written in cursive Hebrew writing.
So we're going to go ahead and get started here, family. And I want to also play a clip here. Let me make sure that it's ready here. All right. I want to share a clip here as well. For those of you that are not familiar with what's going on, I'm going to play this clip as well. But before I do so, let me give some shout outs to everyone, because I really appreciate you guys, appreciate the love and support from you guys. And you guys already know what we're going to talk about tonight. And to set the tone, I want to show that those video clips about the First African Baptist Church. And I'm going to show why all of this tie in together. All right. I'm not just sharing it with you just to be sharing it with you, but I'm going to share something with you that just a little additional information that I've kept close and dear to myself and those that are close to me, family and all. Some information I just keep within, actually not some, a lot of information I keep internal because of the different agendas that are out there. So before we get started, I want to give some love to everyone that's here. Let's start off by giving some shout outs. I want to say peace and blessings. I want to say shalom or shalom to Darnell Blackshear. I want to say peace and blessings, Tawab Arab. I want to say good evening to you as well. To Alahayim is with us. All right. For those that are not familiar with ancient Hebrew, Tawab is good. Arab is evening. So I want to say again, good evening to my brother here. Appreciate you. I want to say peace and blessings to Truth Talk with Shawnee. Who else do we have here? And I'm going to open up the floor too. I'll put the link inside the comment section for those that would like to jump in and join in with the discussion after I get to a certain point. All right. So let's see who else we have here. Angie, love, y'all. I want to say peace and blessings to you, sister. Appreciate you. And also to everyone, I got your emails about the spreadsheet. I will be sending it out. I need to update a couple of things on it. So hopefully I can have it done before this Shabbat. I'm adding a prayer and some other things that you can have. For example, if you want to go through the prayer, the 51st book of Psalms, I wrote it out in ancient Hebrew and put it inside a chart, a prayer. Also, what many will refer to as Adonai's prayer, I put that as well inside there, as well as the letters, the language and all that stuff. So I'll have it for you guys over the next couple of days. I got your emails. All right. Who else do we have here? I want to say peace and blessings to my buddy Kadar. I want to say peace and blessings to you. Shalom. Who else do we have here? Calvin, Andrus. Want to say peace and blessings to you. Want to say shalom to you. Alexandria Qualls. Want to say shalom, Mishpachah. Want to say peace to you as well, family. Who else do we have here? Shirley Greer. Want to say peace and blessings to you. How are you? Yeah, okay, that's that Angie Love. Okay, all right. But peace and blessings to you. You, Taylor, 777. Shalom and blessings to you as well. Sister Joy. Want to say peace and blessings to you as well. Ivy Lamar. Want to say salama to you as well. Appreciate you for taking the time out of your schedule to watch this presentation that I'm going to go over tonight. Who else do we have here? Karis Copeland. Want to say shalom, salama to you as well. Let's see. Who else do we have here? Let's see. Shirley Greer. Again, want to say peace and blessings to you. Ninja Fire Wolf. Want to say shalom, shalom, salama. That's right. Covering all the bases. Peace and blessings to you. Let's see. Keith Williams. Family, let's welcome the elder here. Let's give shout outs to Keith Williams, who is in the chat here. Great guy. Appreciate him. Supports us big time. From Teo Ministries to Dante. He's been really supporting us. And I really appreciate you, elder. Who else do we have here? Jay Highstyle, my buddy right here. Doctor is in the room. Appreciate you, Jay Highstyle. And I'll be dropping the link if your schedule permits, you could jump on in. Cindy Carr, want to say peace and blessings to you. Seam family. Really appreciate you guys here. Who else do we have here? Robert Haynes, want to say shalom to you. Let's see. I think we covered Jessica Figures, I want to say shalom to you as well. Nicole Levels, Inspired Identity, I want to say peace and blessings to you. Teo Ministries, want to say peace and blessings to you. My brothers, appreciate you guys. Who else do we have here? And again, I'm going to drop the link inside the comment section. So Teo, if you guys want to jump on in, feel free to jump on in. This is going to be an open discussion. I'm going to start off with a couple of things, some history about Savannah and how it ties into Haiti. I'm going to reveal some of this to you guys. And I'm still working on the presentation of the road to Savannah. I'm doing part 1 and part 2 as we speak. And some of this information is going to be even more in depth within the series as we close out, trying to get both of them done over the next couple of weeks. And then I'll have it uploaded. So, but going to show you the connection between Savannah and Haiti and you. All right. So who else do we have here? Lachelle Patterson. Want to say peace and blessings to you, my sister. Appreciate you. Let's see here. I think I got everyone. And for those that are jumping in now, if I miss your name, some that's already been here and I accidentally did not say your name, please, like the old school say, don't charge it to my heart, charge it to my head. So I want to say peace and blessings. Sister Carol, want to say peace and blessings to you as well. Tiffany Moore, Ernest Higgs. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started here. 78 vet rather, excuse me. So we're going to get started here. And again, I'm going to drop the link inside the comment section for those that want to join in. And matter of fact, let me go ahead and get this ticker going too. For those that want the email address and you want to get a list of, get my checklist that I put together, my spreadsheet rather, that have some key ancient as well as the Israeli Hebrew on some key words there that help you navigate through, just some basic foundational stuff, navigate through some basic understandings of the text, make a few things clear, very simple and straightforward. So let me go ahead and post this here right now. There we go. And here we go. For those that need my contact information, here it is. All right. So we're going to go ahead and get started here, family. We got a lot to cover tonight. And so let's go ahead and get started here. I want to really encourage you guys, learn this stuff for yourself. And I'm going to show you why I'm very protective about Savannah, Georgia. Why for me, and others like my cousin Benea Israel and some Maury Brown, my cousin Jerry Carr III, that me and him are like brothers because we basically grew up together. But want to show you why. I had to clear my throat. I want to show you why I'm very passionate about our ancestors. Very passionate about why I really don't have no tolerance for anyone that's trying to tell you and others that Savannah doesn't matter. Savannah does matter. Our history does matter. You don't see the Jewish community disregard Jewish community as we know them does not disregard any parts of their history. We don't see the Indians, as far as in India, doing this. We don't see the Asians in terms of the Japanese, the Chinese, the Koreans. We don't see them disregarding any part of their history. So this is history. And I'm going to share why it really touched me, really hit me hard with watching what transpired in Haiti. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and show the clip. I'm not going to show the entire clip, but I'm going to show you a clip that I put together. Some of you guys probably already saw this, but I'm going to share with you again. And we're going to get and we're going to the lesson here. Here we go.
A mass of humanity hoping for some in return. In the shadow of a devastating earthquake and the assassination of their president, thousands of would-be asylum seekers flee Haiti to take their chances up north.
If I'm deported now, I'll die in Haiti. There's no security, there are thieves. There's a civil war every day because there's no leadership.
Many have ended up in this makeshift camp under a bridge connecting the Texan city of Del Rio to Mexico's Ciudad Acuña. The US government has supplied water, toilets and other resources, but the scene remains desperate. While waiting to be processed, men, women and children use sheets, blankets, even plants to shelter from temperatures nearing 40 degrees. As some try to bring in supplies, they're chased away by border officers on horseback. It signals the start of what could be America's swiftest mass expulsion in decades by blocking part of the border and forcing thousands from the camp into detention centres.
But for many of those Haitian migrants under that bridge, Haiti hasn't been home for a decade, and we're seeing an increasingly heartbreaking situation unfold there in Del Rio. The next image might be tough to look at, but it's important to look at. The El Paso Times reported that a mounted Border Patrol agent was seen wielding a whip during an encounter with Haitian migrants.
We are communicating, as we have now for months, loudly and clearly, that irregular migration, the perilous journey, is not the journey to take. One risks one's life, the life of one's loved ones, for a mission that will not succeed. We have been, we are, and we will continue to exercise the public health authority of the Centers for Disease Control in light of the fact that this country and this world is confronting a pandemic.
Well, that's interesting because Mayorkas today, he talked about how the deportations are being done in a humane way. We saw that image of at least one Border Patrol agent using a whip and was effectively trying to lasso some of the migrants. You see that picture there. Why not extend the temporary protected status? I mean, I guess you just explained why not. They don't want to send the message that the U.S. is open.
Ask any African American and they will tell you that MAGA didn't stand for Make America Great Again, but instead Make America White Again. Perhaps the question that should be asked is how America became so white in the first place. The answer is because of who we let in and who we keep out. And it is against that backdrop that I ask you to look at these two images. The first from Afghanistan, thousands of people trying to get out of that country, fleeing the Taliban, bodies clinging to planes. America saying something had to be done. 120,000 people evacuated in weeks. 60,000 now headed to the U.S., many of them landing in the suburbs of Washington. At the same time, an earthquake strikes Haiti. The U.S. telling Haitians, don't come here. This weekend, 14,000 Haitians huddled under this bridge in Texas. Once again, the U.S. sending planes. Only these planes were meant to send the Haitians back home, back to Haiti. On Saturday, the Biden administration saying it sees as many as 5 or 6 flights a day coming in and out of Texas. Those flights will be filled with Haitian refugees flown back to Haiti.
This has been an ongoing issue with Haitians for multiple centuries. I mean, we can talk about Donald Trump, but this actually predates Donald Trump. This has been through the Carter administrations, the Reagan administrations, Clinton, Bush, and Obama. Unfortunately, I mean, Haitians have been treated, quite frankly, as disposable people when they are trying to make asylum claims. And we've seen this, especially in the 1970s and 80s, with the coincidence with the Cuban refugee population coming to the United States, with the very different ways that Haitians were treated. And it was not just a race issue, it was also a geopolitical issue, right? Haiti has often positioned itself as an ally of the United States. And in the midst of the Cold War, where the U.S. was trying to thwart the spread of communism, Haiti was an ally. And so it was not in U.S. interest, and it's still not in U.S. interest to do anything to help Haitians. I think one of the things that has been most consistent is that the U.S. has never taken claims by Haitians for asylum seriously and always processed them for deportation. It has been very limited times when the United States has actually allowed Haitian refugees to parole, that's what they call it, into the larger community and then have their hearing sometime later. the United States was doing both asylum and deportation or removal hearings at the same time in most cases. And they started that practice really with Haitians. So the United States has come up with all kinds of machinations over time to prevent Haitians from being asylees in this country.
Appreciate you, family. And I hope that just watching that video should have done a lot, really sunk in, should have hit home with all of us. Because what disappoints me is the fact that we as a people, we've been so segmented. We have been so segmented. When we see our brothers and sisters in Haiti going through this, many think that or approach it as if Haiti, the people there are a different people. Approach as if the people in Jamaica are different people. Our brothers and sisters in Barbados, Trinidad, Brazil are a different people. And contrary to what many people know, outside of Akibulan, which is Africa, the second largest or the largest population of our people outside of Africa is Brazil. All of this is because of the transatlantic world war. Family, we're the same people that's in Jamaica, the same people that's in Barbados, that's in Haiti. We're the same people. The difference between us and them is just a stroke of a pen. Because all of us could, with a stroke of a pen, could be in Haiti right now, and they could be here occupying the same space that we're occupying here. We could be in other parts of the world. So our lesson for today, the discussion tonight is Jacob's trouble. Fear ye not, Haiti, our brothers and sisters. Now we got a lot of self-hate going on. And a lot of this is because of the constructs. A lot of this is because of the institution of race. I don't call myself a black man. Why? Because that is a construct that was created by the institution of, created by Johann Blumenbach, who is a German or Ashkenazi who came up with this system to divide people based upon a social status, to make sure they drew a line between the conquered and enslaved versus those that have done the conquering per se. And the conqueror is the Europeans, and the conquered and enslaved is our people along with the Native Americans. So I don't subscribe to the institution of race. I'm not a black man. I'm an Israelite, not by a religious system. This is what I was born into. You guys watching, you were born into this thing. Anyone can become a Jew by way of converting to Judaism. But guess what? Not everyone can become an Israelite. You have to be born into this thing. And you have to, if you are not a blood descendant of Israel and you want to dwell among Israel, you have to take on our culture. You have to take on following the Most High. You have to accept His Son. You have to abide by what? The covenant. But anyway, not trying to sound preachy tonight, but just want to make that clear. We are the same people. But I'm going to tell you, growing up in Newark, New Jersey, you had certain sections even within the projects. You had the Haitians living in one section, Jamaicans living in another section. You even had people from Nigeria living in, you had, it was all segmented and everyone out for themselves. So I want to start with some key information here. I don't want to prolong this, but let's start with some key information, and I'll drop the link inside the comment section. So you see the badge here, Plantation Police, South Carolina, 1858. This is the original badge that you see law enforcement wear today. Back then, this badge that you see today comes from what is called the slave patrols, the runaway slave patrol. All right. But I want to start with this article here. Some of you guys are familiar with this. Some of you guys have seen this source, but I'm going here for a reason, right? Archive, Foreign Relations, 1969 to 1976, volume E-5, Documents on Africa, 1969 to 1972, a memorandum by Henry A. Kissinger. Why is this important? Henry A. Kissinger is the former Secretary of State to Richard Nixon. And notice what he says here. He says the Igbos are the wandering Jews of West Africa, gifted, aggressive, westernized. Wait a minute. What did he say here? Notice what he said. The Igbos are the wandering Jews of West Africa. Now, see, many with that tries to make a, how can I put it, making this, many within other communities that have made an assertive effort to join forces with other communities that's against our community and come up with all kinds of stuff to try to undermine this truth. To undermine this truth, you have the Secretary of State, and most people don't even understand the significance of that. The Secretary of State, not some person trying to push a doctrine. The Secretary of State made it clear that the Igbos, right, are the wandering Jews of West Africa. Let me say that again. The Secretary of State, and see, many people don't understand how the government operates. Many don't understand. They think they do, but don't have a clue about how the government operates. You have Henry Kissinger stating that the Igbos are the wandering Jews of West Africa. Let that sink. Let that marinate. Didn't say he think they are. Didn't say that they may be or might. No. Let this sink in for a minute. The Igbos are. Didn't say they are converts or anything. Said they are the wandering Jews of West Africa. Fact. At least one. Actually, I believe it was two, but I know it's at least one. I believe two, if I remember correctly. 1 to 2. I want to err on the side of the caution. I'll say one, but I believe it was two. 2 out of every slave that was on those slave ships came from the Igbos. 2 out of every slaves that came from the slave ships, off those slave ships, are Igbos. We know that the Limbas was on those slave ships. We know the Ashanti people was on those slave ships. We know the Dahomies. We know the Mavumbas. I could go right down the list. But the reason why I wanted to highlight this here, because I'm going somewhere with this. The Igbos are the wandering Jews of West Africa. This is the Secretary of State, and don't allow anyone with their, since they want to throw away the term pseudo, they want to throw that around a lot, with their pseudo understanding of history. Don't let them tell you that they know more than what the Secretary of State knows. Because if you understand the Secretary of State and the information that he has access, or he or she has access to, in comparison to someone that's trying to come up against our community, that came up in one of the churches or whatever, this is the Secretary of State. But I'm not going to stop right there. I want to take you to the Jewish Almanac by Rains, Clark, Siegel, and Richard, 1980. This, you guys know, I go over this over and over again. I use this as a source. Get this right here. This will, you can use just this alone to debunk anyone who want to talk about the history of the Israelites versus the Jews. Because in this, on page 3, they tell you not to use the term Jew interchangeably with Israel or Hebrew, on page 3. And you can use that to answer the question when people ask you, how come you don't call yourself a Jew? Well, you could go to page 3 of this almanac and it'll answer the question for you. All right. So let's see what they say about Henry Kissinger. Whoa, Henry Kissinger from the Jewish community. Notice what it says. Secretary, U.S. Secretary of State, political scientist, U.S. Secretary of State under President Nixon and Ford. This is coming from the Jewish Almanac, page 494. So guess what, guys? You can use this source to show that even the United States understand who we are. Understand that the Igbos, again, are Jews, or should I say, you guys know what we mean when it said Jews, but we know that are the people of the book, not by way of converts. So I want to show you who Henry Kissinger is. I didn't want to just tell you that Henry Kissinger is from the Jewish community. I wanted to show this to you for yourself so you can see it for yourself. All right. So you see, this is a source you can use. Another thing that I want to tie in, because guess what? He said the Igbos, what you see on your screen here, if you go and visit Savannah, Georgia, if you go visit the First African Baptist Church, you will see this right on the front. Right in the front is a park, a small park, and you'll see this right in front of it. These are our brothers and sisters, right? Brothers up here. These are nothing but brothers up here. But let me take something off here so that way you can see this clearly. Let me take this off because this is of Henry Christophe. Let me take this down so that way you guys can actually see the writing here. And I'm going to bring up an image of him as well. Let me do something real quick. All right, let me take, let's see. I want to take Henry name out of here so you can see the small print there. And then I'll give you a little information on Henry himself. All right, so let's see if it updated. Yeah, there you go. Notice at the bottom here, it says the largest unit of soldiers of African descent who fought in the American Revolution, was the brave I can't read it from, Chazur, excuse me if I'm mispronouncing this, volunteers, right? So nevertheless, this is telling you that they were volunteers. These guys fought in the Revolutionary War. They played a major role of the colonies at this time from losing Georgia, from losing Savannah. And yet, look at how we are treated. Guess what? You see this little drama here? All of these guys attended this assembly. This guy right here attended this assembly. What is this assembly? The First African Baptist Church of Savannah, Georgia, who started out, formed in 1773. 1773. But that drummer, see, down in Savannah, see, these guys fought for this country, and many of them died broke. Many of them died going right into slavery, back into slavery, some of them. Didn't get the things that was promised to them, the 40 acres and the mule, didn't get anything. But let me show you this little drummer here. I want to go to this drummer here. Let me pull up the information on this drummer so you guys can understand who he is. That's that drummer right here. And these are my pictures. Been down here a number of times. See, we have a lot of people that's talking about this place, but never been there. I've been to this place a number of times. All right. This is my family history, your history, all of our family history. There was over 4,000 that attended this assembly, right? When it was just the colonies. So why is it important? Why are these guys important? Because had it not been for these guys and they lost Savannah, they would have lost Georgia. And there wouldn't have been a such thing as a Louisiana Purchase. Right? They fought in the Revolutionary War, but also they fought in Haiti. Notice you see here Saint Domingue or Domingo from Haiti. Right? This regiment, you know, it's telling you who they are. I wish I'd have had time to put the whole presentation there on this plaque right here. But anyway, let me tell you about this drama, because this drama is from the Igbos. These guys, some of them are from the Igbos, some of them are from the Limba, right? But this drummer right here, he is from the Igbo. He's from the Igbo tribe. The Igbo tribe, family. His name is Henry Christophe. The drummer represents young Henry Christophe, who participated in the October 9th, 1779 Battle of Savannah. Christophe later became a leader in the struggle for Haitian independence from French colonial rule. Ending in 1804, a commander of the Haitian army, he became the king of Haiti, being among the first heads of state of African descent in the Western Hemisphere. All from where? All from where? This is our brothers and sisters right here. This is our brother right here. He attended that assembly in Savannah, Georgia. These guys attended the First African Baptist Church. Don't let anyone tell you to disregard your history. So why did this hit me pretty hard? When I saw the videos about what's transpired with these border patrols on horses whipping our people. See, family, when you do the research and understand, you'll see Igbos in Haiti. You will see the Limbas in Haiti. And many of you guys have done your DNA, and you saw Limba in your DNA. You saw the Igbos in your DNA. You also seen the philosophers, as far as the Ethiopian, they say Jews inside your DNA. Morocco, we got it all up in this. So how do we get these languages on the pews in Savannah, Georgia, that the Most High allowed me to identify? I'm not speaking for anyone else. Let me share some additional information with you. Let me share some additional information with you. See, this is why I cannot get with some of the things that I see going on. This is why I decided to turn the narrative, shift the narrative from certain groups, because it was non-productive, and certain people, all they want to do is be a distraction. Be a distraction. To try to slander your reputation, but don't have a care for truth. Just want to, because can't beat you. So they try to do what boxers do. Boxers going up against a brawler. A brawler, what they would do with someone that's a boxer, they'll try to make the fight so ugly to give themselves a puncher's chance to win. And that's what many guys are doing. So going back to the narrative here, these are our people down in Savannah, from the Savannahs that helped liberate Haiti. Why we see the conditions of Haiti right now? It's because Haiti was the first territories that was liberated. They fought against the French and won their freedom. Haiti. This is why you see Haiti looking the conditions of Haiti that you see today, because they blacklisted Haiti. They made sure all other nations would not trade with Haiti. This is why you see the Dominican Republic on the other side of the same island prospering. Haiti played an intricate part of the colonies not being defeated by the Brits. Right? So again, This is Christophe. Henry Christophe attended that church down in Savannah that many say, hey, it doesn't mean anything. No, it means everything when it comes to part of, I'm not going to say everything. It's part of the puzzle, the pieces to the puzzle. We can't disregard any piece of the puzzle. So he was an Igbo. Fact. He was an Igbo. And many of these soldiers that you see up here on this platform, they were Igbos. And guess where they attended? They attended First African Baptist Church. You had Igbos up in the attendance. You had the Limbas up in the attendance. You had the Shantis up in the attendance. You also had some philosophers or Ethiopian Hebrews up in the attendance. This is why I was able to point out that there's Ge'ez or Amharic on the pews. This is why I was able to, without no help from anyone, my studies of the languages was able to identify different variations of Hebrew on the pews, from Solitreo, which is the cursive form of Ladino, and the Rashi script, which is the print form of it. Also seeing cursive Hebrew on there. I pointed out a number of languages on those pews, but it's not Arabic. There's not a single bit of Arabic on any of those pews. I even also highlighted Bantu symbols on the pews and said that there's some pews have a mixture. But anyway, not trying to get into all of that. Let me show you another key point here. And I'm going to open up the floor here for those that are watching, those that want to jump in here and get in on this discussion. Let me share with you another thing that I want to highlight, right? Because I'm going to tie this into those whips, right? And I want to tie this in so that way you get a clear understanding of why I felt a certain way when I saw those images of our ancestors. I mean, not ancestors, but our relatives being treated like cattle, as you see in the backdrop of the screen, treated like cattle, treated no different. You would, if you did not see, actually, if you didn't see this mask, if you just took a quick glance, you would think that this is something from at least 150 years ago. But this is something that happened recently. So the ancient writing system of the Ukiah cloth, some of you guys probably remember this, but I just want to do a quick refresher on this as I tie this all into why this touched me. Why these warnings on the pews, they're not Quran passages. These are warnings to our ancestors. I mean, from our ancestors to today, writings that they put on the pews for those that wanted to seek freedom. The First African Baptist Church was part of the Underground Railroad. And contrary to what many of you guys have come to understand, many of them were fleeing to Florida. Spanish Florida is what I refer to it as, because that territory at one time was controlled by Spain. And so our ancestors were fleeing from Savannah, going to Florida, which is like maybe, on foot, probably 3 or 4 hours, maybe slightly longer. By car, an hour from Savannah to the border of Florida. So during the Gullah Wars, right, this is what they were fighting over, because our ancestors will flee to Florida, and Florida was especially the borders were very dense with the woods, a reflection or resemblance of the Congos. Our ancestors were able to make it and navigate through there, and that's how they were defeating the army of the colonies, because the colonies was not accustomed to that type of war. That war lasted for almost 100 years. The Gullah Wars. So many of our ancestors were fleeing not to Canada, they were fleeing to Spanish Florida. And then they would come back and they were raiding plantations and taking out, and if you want to use the term rapture, there was kidnapping, if you want to call it, but not raping. They were snatching our brothers and sisters and bringing them to Florida. This is a fact, family. So let me explain this here. This is one of the languages that I pointed out that's on the pews, because this also debunks this whole nonsense, because many started trying to downplay the 9-patch quilt that has symbols on it to give information on what to do, which is an intricate part of Savannah, Georgia, the church down there. The ceiling is a reflection of the 9-patch quilt. So let me share with you just a little bit of this here. Some of this may look familiar to some of you guys, because guess what? You see it all around you. My grandmother made quilts like this, right? So anyway, this symbol right here is a symbol that the Igbos use, a symbol of languages. Not just the Igbos, but other tribes use this that was from West Africa, right? It's a language that it's a secretive language. Right. So that means that you have to understand. You can't just be on the outside thinking you're going to pick up on this unless you thoroughly understand the people, understand the culture, understand how they formulated language as far as sentences and all those different things. You can't just come on the outside and think that you're going to give a educated understanding of this text, of the writings. You're not, if you don't understand the rules that applies to understanding these symbols. So what you see here, these 3 lines, right? What this right here is actually a handle. These 3 lines together, right, means prevent danger. But I'm going to show you that it means even more, right? So incivity is an ancient system of graphic communication indigenous to the Ejigam people of southeastern Nigeria and southwestern Cameroon in the Cross River region. It is also used by neighboring Ibibio, Efik, and Igbo peoples. Aesthetically compelling and encoded, incivity does not correspond to any one spoken language. It is an ideographic script whose symbols refer to abstract concepts, actions, or things, who facilitates communication among people speaking different languages. So let me give you a key to understanding this language. This is coming from a source here, Journal of Royal Anthropological Institute of Great Britain, volume 39, page 211. And I'm going to use this to explain just this particular symbol, because I got additional information for other symbols that's on the pews. But this symbol is on the pews, one of many symbols that is considered a Bantu symbol that's on the pews. Now, notice this, and I'm going to show you this symbol here shortly and tell you what it means, and show you why this made me feel some kind of way when I saw the news articles last night. And that's why I posted the news early this morning, like probably about 2 a.m, because it troubled me. And I wanted to make sure I got the word out to you guys. So guess what? Here it is. This is what it says on page 211. The same sign stands for different things. An example, the sign looks like a stretched out capital I, maybe a man who is an onlooker or a messenger, right? A pillow, a tree that supports the roof of or house itself. So this could be a messenger or an onlooker or an overseer. Sometimes, as in the last of these cases, the multiplication of meaning is easily explained. An example, a whip or a man with a whip. So this could be a whip, a overseer with a whip, right? This first letter up here, symbol up here without the handle there, onlooker or overseer with a overseer here with a whip. Or together, a man with a whip. The same thing is expressed by different signs. In this case, there is always a subtle shade of meaning in the difference. This is most noteworthy in the case of signs representing men. Many separate acts or states of mind are thus represented. There is no order of writing. A sign may be, and in Hebrew, sign means proof, evidence. Proof, evidence. A sign may be horizontal or vertical or oblique, as suits the convenience of the writer. This is important to understand, especially understanding the pews. So the consequences or the consequence of this is that all the signs in a collection have to be interpreted before the meaning is plain. So how did this script originate? It is evidently a picture writing of considerable age, for already there is a certain amount of conventionality about some of the signs. An example, you see this oblique sign right here, right? It means a man who makes trouble between two people, a man who makes trouble. So the other sign, the straight one, says without the handle, a messenger, or we could say overseer. And then the one that had the handle together, a man with a whip, an overseer with a whip. And then when we see this wiggly line, who makes trouble between people. So the native tradition of its origin is that it comes from the Uguakima, I'm butchering the name, Uguakima. I don't know why I keep saying Keepa. Uguakima section of the Igbo tribe. So excuse me if I butchered this name. My apologies. I'm getting a little tongue tied. I'm adding syllables to the word, which I apologize. So no disregard. So again, I really don't want to sound like I'm disrespecting anyone. But anyway, this is still part of what? The Igbo tribe. And we have others. I have other sources. I just cut it down just so that way I can explain this portion to you guys. So we still see what? The Igbo, the Uguakima section of the Igbo tribe. So it's still part of what? The Igbo. We still dealing with what? West Africa. This tells you, and I got proof that other tribes understood this language, this secret language of symbols. So here's a recap, and I'll show you one other thing, and then we'll open it up. So that straight line that we pointed out that doesn't have a handle on it, right? A man who is an onlooker or a messenger, right? Then we see the one with the handle, meaning, right? A man with a whip, right? A whip or a man with the whip. Then this oblique sign, right? In other words, it's, they distorted to make it look like an S. It means a man who makes trouble between two people. Let's bring it together. So these three symbols, if you really study the language, these three symbols mean prevent danger, but not just that. I'm going to take it a step further. And this is a simple chart that you can Google for yourself. Google Insibity, and you will see this image come up here. Or if you do Igbo, you'll see this image here. Simple research that you can obtain for yourself. And you see here, prevent danger. You also see tracks, right? Track, journey, voyage, tracks. So guess what? This is on the pews as well. I can prove that a few other things that are on the pews, but I'm just not going to make it public. I'm not going to have people defecate on our history. All right, family. All right, let me fast forward a little. Let me go ahead and share this with you. All right. So you see these three squiggly lines. These are on the pews, right? I didn't put the pew up in question because I didn't want to get into all of that. But these three lines are on one of the pews. So together, these three lines, right? And there's a border that goes right here. That's why you see some of it cut off, but there's a border like here. So these three symbols together means prevent danger from the overseers who carry whips and make trouble, right? You see some of these symbols on what will be considered the header of the pew. And when you see these on any of the pews, it tells you what that particular pew is about. I'm not going to give any more information on that. I'm going to keep it simple because I don't want to give too much information on that. So this is what this actually means when you study the pews and study the writings like I have for years or top of years. These three symbols together means prevent danger from the overseers who carry whips and make trouble. Now, do you see why this really touched me when I saw our brothers and sisters from Haiti? From Haiti, having these overseers, having these so-called border patrols, who's nothing more than slave patrols, behaving and treating our people this way, made me feel some kind of way. Made me feel some kind of way. So here's a couple of prophecies. Matter of fact, I'm going to share a couple of prophecies and I'm going to drop the link here. Deuteronomy 28, verse 49 through 50, it says this. Yahweh shall bring a nation against thee from far, from the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle flieth. And again, you think that there's a coincidence that the United States symbol is the eagle? A nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand. A nation of fierce countenance, which shall not regard the person of old, nor show favor to the young. And we saw and continue to see it on full display. Did the United States treat the Afghanistanians this way? Did they treat them this way? Over 120,000 Afghanistanians were flown out of Afghanistan because of fear and threat that's going to happen to them. So it took them a few weeks, maybe 3 or 4 weeks to get them out. And what did the president do? Made sure they made arrangements for those that didn't come to this country among the allies to get them to a safe place in their countries, other countries. We have over 60,000 that was brought to this country. DC, Virginia, Georgia, New Jersey, Texas, California. And it's far more than what you can imagine. Flew them into this country, taking care of their health, taking care of their food, their every need. But here you have our brothers and sisters who, number one, leader was assassinated by, I'll just say allegedly, DEA representatives of this country assassinated. And then what do we get? Within 24 hours, the commander-in-chief from this country, commander-in-chief, after he was assassinated, the word that came out of his office is that they're concerned about the COVID, about the virus there. So they're going to send 500,000 dosage over to the people because 11 million out of the 11 million Haitians, 2,000, what is it? Yeah, 2,700 of them, 2,700 of them caught COVID. Out of 11 million people, 2,700 caught COVID. And out of the 2,700 that caught COVID, 68 of them died. So out of 11 million people, they were so concerned, more concerned about their welfare. Do you think going through what they're going through, they care about the virus? The virus is the least of their worries when you don't have food to eat, when you don't have a roof over your head, when you gotta, when you're not guaranteed if you're going to live the next day because someone could rob you for what you have. The very things that Josephus wrote about when he's about the destruction of the temple, when Jerusalem got sacked, some of the things that people were doing because desperate times, people began to do desperate things. And what happens here in this country? They're concerned about getting 500,000 shots to people who have a situation that's more severe than a virus. Many of them would love to say they have a virus and have a roof over their head, have a virus and they have a medical attention they could receive, have the virus and have a full stomach, have the virus and don't have to fear for their life being gunned down. Come on, family. We got to keep it real up on here. A nation of fierce countenance, which shall not regard the person of the old, nor show favor to the young. We see how this prophecy is fulfilling itself. This is a perpetual prophecy. This is why we continuously go through what we're going through. Let's go to verse 49 and 50 of the Tanakh and see what it says. It says, Yahweh will bring a nation against you from afar, from the end of the earth, which will swoop down like the eagle, a nation whose language you do not understand. A ruthless nation that will show the old no regard and the young no mercy. See, when you go to the last verse of this chapter, it also says that, guess what? And here, notice it tells us that no man shall buy us in this text. Said we'll offer ourselves. We'll try to enter into all kinds of agreements to circumvent the judgment. But guess what? Those agreements will not save us from what? The judgment that we have to face from what? Turning away from the things that the Most High commanded us to do. So we have to deal with the judgment. But guess what? The Most High have a plan. He used other nations to correct us. But in Zechariah, we see the prophecy that the Most High is going to have judgment on those same nations who went overboard with their with the punishment towards us. That's why the Northern Kingdom got in trouble, because they went overboard. That's a whole nother discussion. All right. Revelation chapter 17, verse 14 through 16. This is the last one that I highlight, and I'm going to fast forward to the slave patrols. These shall make war with the Lamb, and the Lamb shall overcome them, for he is Adonaiah of Adonaiah. I don't like to say these terms here because these are Germanic terms, right? They didn't use this in ancient Hebrew. They didn't even use it in what many would call it any other form of Hebrew that they want. These words did not exist. And these are not words that accurately transliterates. These are political positions in Germany. All right. But anyway, Adonaiah of Adonaiah and Malak of Malak. Right. Messenger of messenger, or king of kings. Also, Malak also transliterates to queens as well. So, and they that are with him are called chosen and faithful. This is what it says about our people that's going through what we're going through. And he saith unto me, the waters which thou sawest, right, where the horse sits, are people, saying the waters are symbols of what? The peoples, the multitudes, nations, and tongues. This is not dealing with any other nation but Israel. How many millions of our ancestors that didn't make it across that Atlantic Ocean, the Ethiopian Ocean, right? The ocean Kushi, right? Or Kawashai, right? How many of our ancestors, how many millions that got consumed in those oceans? It was so bad that sharks followed the ships as they made their way. So the waters which thou sawest, the vision that John saw, was our people in those waters, those oceans. All right. Deuteronomy 28:29, going back here, says this. All right. Actually, I didn't read this yet, but anyway, Yahweh shall smite thee with madness, blindness, astonishment of heart. In other words, this situation is going to have us doing things that's contrary to what he called us to do. It's going to make us think crazy. Right? Do things that's not that we would never think that we do. And thou shalt group at the noonday, as the blind gropeth in the darkness, and thou shalt not prosper in thy ways, and thou shalt be only oppressed and spoiled evermore, and no man shall what? Save thee. Salvation is not going to come through Joe Biden. Salvation is not going to come from the Democrats. Salvation is not going to come from the Republicans. It's not going to come from any institution of man. It's going to come from the Most High. Stop praying for the very governments that have enslaved you. The Most High said that he's going to do what? Tear down these kingdoms, the kingdoms of man, and he's going to what? Bring the kingdom, his kingdom, through Israel back here, reestablish it. So I'm not praying for these wicked kingdoms, these wicked governments. I'm not praying for them. I'm praying for our brothers and sisters that may be within them, but not that. But this is the madness it talks about, cognitive dissonance, which is nothing more than this contradictory behavior. Right? I'm not going to go through all of this, but that's what cognitive dissonance simply is. It's contradictory behavior. Stockholm syndrome, still part of the prophecy. Guess what? This is what? The victim protecting the perpetrator. That's what it says here. A psychological tendency of a hostage to bond with or sympathize with his captor, his or her captors. Then we also have what is called, I'm not going to get into this, I'm fast forwarding, herd behavior. That's what we see happening with those that are promoting these shots. All right. Those that are bragging about getting a booster shot, that's still what? A test. Anyway, I'm not going to get into all of that. So family, I'm going to head and drop the link in here. We'll continue on as some of you guys jump on. If any one of you guys want to join the discussion, let me go ahead and drop the link inside the comment section, and you guys more than welcome to join in. And I'll go over the slave patrol to give you an understanding of what you see happening right now. When we start dealing with the border patrol, their behaviors come from the slave patrol. Here's the link inside the chat. If you guys interested, any of you guys interested on coming on, let's just be respectful with our comments, because guess what? We are surrounded by a cloud of witnesses. So let's be careful how we articulate ourselves. Let's make sure that the people that may be watching know that we're not just anybody. We're educated people. We're not cursing people out. We're not being ignorant up in here. We're being very respectful, but at the same time, we're not playing. All right. So let's see here. All right. Who else do we have here? Let me see here. I don't know if Jay Highstyle or Sister Carol or any of you guys are still available, but nevertheless, the link is in the chat. So if you guys are interested in jumping in on the discussion, feel free. All right. So let's see who we have here. I think we have someone here. We have Shawnee here. Let me go ahead and bring her in, and then I'll explain to you what the slave patrol is, and then we'll continue it going. Keep it going. Got Jay Highstyle here, so I'm going ahead and bring these guys in. All right, and anyone else that want to join in, feel free. The link is inside the chat. So I'm going to start off with Sister Shawnee. Sister Shawnee, go ahead and introduce yourself to everyone.
Shalom, Pastor Kelly. Shalom to everyone in the chat. Pastor, I just wanted to point out a few things, and I wanted to ask everybody a question.
Before you do that, just introduce yourself to everyone, because we got people watching that may not know you. Just kind of introduce yourself.
Oh, okay.
You ready to go geek mode already? All right. just introduce yourself first. You like, man, I'm just cutting right straight to the chase.
Shalom, everyone. My name is Sister Shawnee from the Talk Truth with Shawnee channel on YouTube, and Pastor Kelly is my pastor and advisor. And I'm fairly new to this, but I am not unstudied, because under my former pastor, I studied tremendously. And also, too, like Pastor Kelly, I have gone to seminary school and graduated. So that's a little bit about me. Is that good enough, Pastor?
Yeah. Now, before you go geek mode, I'm gonna bring Jay Highstyle. Let Jay Highstyle introduce himself. Okay. You ready to go? I can sense it, and I know Jay can sense it too. All right, go ahead, Jay.
Hey, peace and blessings, Pastor and fam. How's everyone doing? Y'all know me. I'm Jay Highstyle. Have a doctorate. And I'm here. I'm here to talk amongst fellow brethren.
I'm on. Appreciate you. Well, guys, what do you think? I'll start with you, Sister Shawnee, since you ready to go in. You said you had like a whole book of stuff that you want to share. But go for it, and Jay, feel free to jump in.
I just wanted to make 2 points, and I wanted to ask the question of everybody that's on the live right now, because when you spoke about the overseer, that's exactly what I thought about when I first saw the videos from the news and also too from YouTube, and I said, man, this is just like we're stepping back in time at what we're seeing on the TV and also too on YouTube, and it just made me think about that. Also, too, the second point I wanted to make is from everything that we're seeing that's going on right now in Texas, we have already seen this, but except for we did not see the support for what's happening in Texas right now with the Haitians, as we saw with the Latinos or Hispanics. And this is what I wanted to point out. How many representatives from the United States Senate and from the House of Representatives did you see at the borders when the South Americans was coming up? How many did you see? Oh, they were standing there. They were crying at the border. And I want to tell you something, family. When I didn't see the same thing happening for our brothers and sisters that are up underneath that bridge, it really made me feel some type of way. And it really just showed me that we as Israelites, we really don't have any place that we can call home. We have no place where we can lay our heads safely and not have to worry. Another thing I want to point out is this. Since Joe Biden took office in January, not even a week later, he put hired contractors on the ground in Haiti. And you can look it up. They've been killing Haitians in broad daylight on the streets of Haiti. And you can look it up since less than a week after Joe Biden took office. Family, you have to, I'm not trying to get on your back, but you have to stay more informed about what's going on with our people. Now, we saw the congresswoman in New York who represents New York. What's her name? OC something, Cortez or something like that, Pastor Kelly? What's her name?
Yeah.
She went to the border when it was her people down at the border. She went there and she cried and she made a big old speech about how we all count as people and how our children, mothers should not be separated from their children. And it doesn't matter what color you are. Oh, how many of you saw the video? But where is she right now? If it didn't matter. If it truly didn't matter, where's she right now?
Hey,
she's nowhere to be found.
Kamala Harris said that she's a sister, right? Where's she? We haven't heard anything from her.
That's right. Now, my family knows Cory Booker personally. Personally, he has been to my family's community center right here in New Jersey because he wanted the black vote, and he knew that in Union County, my family is the family to talk to. My uncles are the people to talk to get the black vote in Union County. Cory Booker, he went to the border for the Hispanics, for the Latinas. But where's he at right now? The Black Caucus even showed up. But where's the Black Caucus at for our family? That shows you exactly how much they value us. And the next question I'm going to ask, and then I'm going to stop. I want to ask Israel
Hold on to that question. Hold on to that question. Let me let Jay get a little bit of this because you go in geek mode a little bit. All right. All right. Let me let Jay High Style jump in here a little bit, and then you can come back with your question.
Okay.
Come on, Jay.
Well, fam, I mean, you see what's going on, and it really shouldn't be any surprise to us because this exact same thing has happened in the past. As a matter of fact, the pictures that we see where our Haitian brothers are trying to get across the border, it kind of reminds you of another time. And that time was known as Katrina, Hurricane Katrina. Y'all remember that? When all of us, we were down in New Orleans trying to get to safety. And they just left us scrambling. No support, no nothing. It shouldn't come as a surprise to us that whenever we're in turmoil, people don't just run to our rescue. They pretty much let us fend for ourselves. And you know what? We should do just that. We should be fending for ourselves. This is the perfect time and the perfect opportunity to separate ourselves, come from among them, and form our own businesses, our own societies. We've done it before. Tulsa, y'all remember that too, right? We've done it before. We can do it again. We need to come away from these people and form our own societies, fend for ourselves. If we don't look out for ourselves, guess what? Nobody will. Now I'll leave it at that.
Well, great point. And the key is, Sister Shawnee, I'll let you come in with your question. I think about Judges, the book of Judges. And every time Israel got into trouble, They went into captivity, right? And then they cried to the Most High. Then the Most High did what? He heard their cry. And so he raised up a deliverer. It didn't say he sent a deliverer. He raised up a deliverer from within Israel. Every deliverer he raised up, every time you see Israel going into a captivity, the deliverer came from within Israel. Matter of fact, when Israel was in Egypt, the deliverer was raised, was groomed, birthed out of Israel, even though he was raised in the household of Pharaoh, but he came from within Israel. So family, guess what? The answer is among us. The answer,
Absolutely.
the solution is among us. The problem is we keep looking for these politicians to bring forth solution. We keep treating them as if they are a Messiah. They're not the Messiah to our community. We have a Messiah. We have the answers. We have the deliverer. And matter of fact, if we understood the culture of our people, Israel was raising their children to be the potential deliverer, because none of them knew whether or not if it was going to be their child that was going to be the Most High choose to deliver Israel. Because truth be told, no one wanted to talk. Many wanted to downplay Deborah, but Deborah was a deliverer for the time that she lived in. Each time you saw a captivity, there were deliverers raised up to bring Israel out of it. So we have the Messiah that's going to come back to be the ultimate deliverer. And this is going to take him. It's going to take him through the Most High to deliver us from the captivity that we are dealing with today. Go ahead, Sister Shawnee. And then we got someone else that just joined us, daughter of Yah. And daughter of Yah, we'll let you introduce yourself after Sister Shawnee go.
The question I want to ask, and then my closing statement is
we are not in court, sis. We are not in court, right? She like, I'm gonna ask my question. I'm gonna give my closing statement to the jury. You know what I mean? And then we'll let the jury go back and deliberate. You know? Go ahead, sis.
But the question I want to ask the family is, I understand how you feel, and I understand that some of you were troubled in your ruach when you saw what you saw, and I understand that some of you got angry. But I'm going to ask you this question. How many of you got on the telephone when you first saw it, got on the telephone today, and how many of you will get on the telephone tomorrow and call your governor and your state senator and voice your outrage at what you saw, so that the man who had the whip is held accountable, so that what they're doing at the border with our brothers and sisters stops? Because I want to remind you of something. How many of you remember that it was the outrage of us so-called African Americans, which we know we're really Hebrews, in America, that Ronald Reagan said he has to do something about, bringing apartheid to an end? So it was our outrage over here in America that helped our brothers and sisters in South Africa to bring apartheid to an end. I am asking you, family, get on the phone, call your governor, call your state senator. And if you cannot speak to them at the time, just leave them a message. Just leave them a message. They'll get it. And when enough of us call, they're going to do exactly now what they did with Ronald Reagan when he said too many black people are talking about this. I gotta talk to the president of South Africa and bring this to an end. And what I'm going to say is, and then I'm going to stop, is we got to care. We have to care more about our family members. We got to stop talking that talk, and we got to start walking that walk and truly being our brothers and sisters keepers. Your voice has power. The words that you use, brothers and sisters, they have power in them. Yah said that if we have the faith as a grain of mustard seed, we can speak to the mountain and it will remove itself. Do you not realize how the power in the words that you speak, brothers and sisters, that you can move a mountain? President of the United States to get involved and bring apartheid to an end in South Africa. Use your voice. Call your state governor. Call your senator and voice your opinion and your outrage about what's going on at the border in Cortez, the senator from New York, when she was at the border, she said that some Hispanic women was having babies. And because they were having babies at the border, which is the in-between, the children are considered United States citizens, which automatically qualify the mothers to have residency in the United States. 2 Haitian women have given birth underneath that bridge. Where is Cortez, Senator Cortez, for those 2 Haitian women that gave birth under the bridge? Their children are United States citizens. Their mothers automatically qualify for citizenship, just like her people qualified for citizenship. And that's all I have to say.
I'm on, and it's a couple of things I want to say, but I'll wait until after we get daughter of Yah introduced here. So we got daughter of Yah here for the first time. So daughter of Yah, before you come on, let me just show you what you have to be ready for. Let me bring out my Afro Thunder.
It's time to dance. It's time to dance.
Oh no, not the Afro Thunder.
All right, come on, daughter of Yah. Just introduce yourself to the people and whatever you want, the Most High has placed on your heart to share, or whatever that we've gone over tonight that may have touched you to want to share and bless the people with. You're breaking up, daughter of Yah. We can't hear you, daughter of Yah. I think you're breaking up.
Greetings.
Hey, daughter of Yah, we still can't hear you. Your signal is going in and out. Daughter, yeah, try backing out and come back in and see if that'll fix your signal, because we can't hear you. Can you guys hear her?
No.
Yeah, we can't hear you, daughter. Yeah, try ending your connection and coming back in and see if that'll help your connection, because we're not able to hear you. You're breaking up to where as though we're not able to hear you. All right. All right, looks like this. All right, try it again, daughter. Yeah, let's see if we can hear you. We still can't hear you, daughter. Yeah. Well, while you're working on that, we'll go ahead and let Pensacola. Looks like Pensacola, Florida. We're going to go ahead and let you introduce yourself. And daughter, yeah, I'll bring you on right after Pensacola go. All right, go ahead, Pensacola. Pensacola, you still there? All right. All right, Pensacola, you're trying to say something. We can't hear you. You may be in a bad spot. All right. Daughter, yeah, let's see if you got your your device working? All right, we'll try one more time here. Daughter, yeah, you could go ahead and unmute yourself and try it again. You're muted, daughter, yeah, so you may want to unmute yourself. All righty. Well, while daughter Yah is working on her connection, we're going to go ahead and continue on. Don't want to prolong things here, but appreciate everyone that are coming in tonight. And there was something that you said. I was trying to think of what I can't remember. I lost my train of thought, Sister Shawnee, of what you said. I was going to respond.
She was talking about voicing. She was talking about voicing our grievances with the governor and state senator.
Yeah. See, this is what we have to understand, family. I know many from within the community teach that we should not be involved with the actions of the government. And if we understand the text, we know that Moses was involved with the Egyptian government. We know that Joseph was involved with the Egyptian government. We know that Daniel was involved with the Babylonian government. We know that his 3 Hebrew friends were part of that interaction with the Babylonian government. The key is, how do we navigate through it? Right? Because we are in that same position. We're in a country that's not ours. You know, we are in a country that do not belong to us, right? And so, you know, how do we navigate through it? How do we navigate through it, right? And so that's what's important. We have to know how to navigate. Even the Israelites at that time knew how to navigate. All right. We see your daughter. Yeah, I'm gonna bring in a second. But we have to learn how to navigate. Think about. We could go right down a list of others from Nehemiah, Esther. We could go right down the list, but we have to know, how do we navigate through it? How do we use wisdom? Our ancestors, right, when they wanted to crucify the Messiah, when they wanted to bring capital punishment to him, they went through the Roman government, right? They had to go through the Roman government in order to do that. And what did they do? They had a vote that was not put together by them. It was the Roman Pilate that put together the vote, and all of them participated. So the kicker is, I'm not saying knocking someone that don't vote, and I'm not knocking someone that does, but you have to be active in the community you live in, even if you don't vote for presidents and all that. But guess what? That president needs those local senators. They need those local congressmen. They need the city council. They need all of those guys. Though, you know, they have more of an impact in your neighborhood than than dealing with going all the way up to the White House. But we have to participate. We have to participate. Daughter Yah, did you want to try it again? Right. Well, while daughter Yah is still trying to get a connection going, Brother Jay, looked like you had something to say.
Yeah. Your question was, how do we navigate? You know, I agree with Sister Shawnee in that it starts with our voice, but it doesn't stop there. God has given us talents and abilities as well, just like he gave to Joseph and the Hebrew boys and Daniel, so on and so forth, while dealing with the government. And that's my whole point. Yeah, it's good to voice our opinion, and we've done that. We've done that in the past, actually. But now we have to navigate even more so, because we see every time we voice our opinion, they do take heed to a certain extent, but things start to fall back into the same place as before. So what do we need to do differently is my thing. And what we need to do differently is use our talents and abilities, develop our own businesses, things of that nature. Look, if the Most High is for us, who can be against us? So we need to start acting on our own now. And that's my whole point.
Absolutely. I definitely agree. And I think even when we look at Nehemiah really gave us a playbook, how to go through that
Mhm.
process.
Mhm.
Of course, we got to seek the Most High first.
Mhm.
And Nehemiah
Absolutely.
used the
Absolutely.
resources
That's
of
right.
the king that he worked for,
That's
Mhm.
right.
right? He used the resources. He was in good
Mhm.
standings to the point that the king wanted to make sure he was okay. See, people don't
Mhm.
understand
That's
what
right.
a cupbearer is. A
Mm-hmm.
cupbearer put their life on the line
Right.
every day, several times a
Mhm.
day. So that cupbearer has a special relationship with the king. The king
Mm-hmm.
know if the cupbearer is not right, there's a possibility that he could be infiltrated.
Mhm.
So that tells you that there was a special relationship. Just like
That's
when we
right.
look at Daniel, there was a special relationship he had with his supervisor.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
So we have to
That's
make
right.
sure that we're representing the Most High the way we're supposed to be, in terms of how we carry ourselves, how
That's
we
right.
greet one another, how we interact, even how you do your job if you're working for someone. Show up on time, be punctual.
That's
Some
right.
of the worst customer service people that I ever dealt with were people from the church. You know what I mean? I'm just being real. But we have to, just to your point, Jay High Style, we have to make sure we do the things that we're supposed to do,
Right.
so that way we have a good standing among our
Right.
peers. you
Absolutely.
know and I mean, that's part of the thing, and like I said, that part of the solution. And Nehemiah gives a great blueprint of what to do.
Mhm.
He sought the Most
Absolutely.
High, got a game plan. Of course, the king, he didn't try to overshadow the king, overstep the king. He had integrity. He did exactly what he set out to do. And the next step was what? Rallying the people to a common cause. And they began
Exactly.
to what? Prioritize what was important.
Mhm.
Hey, first, let's deal
Mhm.
with the gate before we deal with any internal stuff.
Mhm.
Exactly.
Once the gate got the city got fortified, then they started dealing with all the internal stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
That's right.
So that's a great point, Jay High Style. Go ahead, Sister Shawnee,
I
and
just
then I'm
want to
going to try.
say I agree with brother Jay Highstyle 100%. And I agree with what you said. And we even see that the example of what you just said, Pastor Kelly, in the example of Mordecai, who Mordecai rose to be like a Joseph in Babylon. So much so that the king of Babylon gave Mordecai a coat of many colors, 2 crowns, and his signet ring. So those are great examples. But we have to do this. You know what, Pastor Kelly? What I'm trying to say is, what made Congress and the Senate and even the President of the United States do something when our people were fighting for civil rights? What made them do something? You know what it was? It was the boycott. Our money is
Yeah.
what made it happen. It wasn't us. They didn't respect us, and they still
Mhm.
don't respect us. But they respected our money so much so that they went to the governors of the states that they were in, and the business owners said, "You have to do something because we're losing too much money." That's what ended the boycott. That's what got us some of the freedoms that we enjoy now, the so-called freedoms that we enjoy now. And then you know what happened? Within a generation, our people went back to sleep. We became docile. Like you always say, Pastor Kelly, when I'm talking to you, we got too comfortable. And then they just revised the playbook that you always talk about, and they put a new spin on it. And that's where we're at right now.
I'm on. I'm on. Hey, daughter of Yah, you got the floor. All right, now I heard a
Shalom,
cricket now.
family.
There we go.
Shalom, how
Shalom.
you? How are you?
Hallelujah. My name is Josette Pierre. originally from Haiti. Um, I want to praise the Most High Yah for tonight and for so many other groups that I follow online on YouTube to see how we are awakening all over the world. I praise Him for that. One thing I would like to add on behalf on what so-called Haitian, um, have a target after we have defeated the British, the Spaniards, the the German, and the French. After we kicked the French out, we were one of the presidents here. I believe he was President Roosevelt Theodore. He said they had to do every people down. If they don't, they will not. They will control these people. Ever since that time, they had put the noose up on our necks, because it's like it was an audacity and to the of slavery U.S. and they wanted to, and we defeated. They went in doing what they went.
Hey, daughter, yeah, you sound better. Daughter, yeah, you sound better, but you're still choppy. So we kind of like hearing you spaced out. We're not hearing your full words. It's like your words are being cut off. Do you have like a better position that you?
And
Yeah, we still can't hear you, daughter. Yeah, you kind of clipping, breaking up. All right. But why you if you could shift to another portion of the room that may help your signal.
He
Well, family, while she's working on her signal because the signal is very weak, I want to point out something and not bring you guys in, Jay, and you guys can respond to it as well. Just so that way we get an understanding of where did all these behaviors come from, because they just didn't pop up in this time that we live in. The behaviors that we see from the border patrols, the behaviors that we see from the law enforcement, they come from somewhere. And this is a great source that I'm highlighting here. And I encourage you guys that if you can get a copy of it, get a copy of this source right here. It's called Slave Patrols. And it's written by Sally E. Hayden. It's a great book, and it really gives you the understanding of why we see things occurring the way that we see. Why do we see things happening among the legal system that does not favor our people? All right. So I want to encourage you guys to get this source right here. All right. So I'm just going to go ahead and read from it real quick, and you guys are more than welcome to share your thoughts on it, and then we'll wrap it up. All right. So here we go. This is coming from page 12. There's so many nuggets I could pull out of this, but I'm just going to share with a couple of bullets from this book here. Slave Patrols, Law and Violence in Virginia and the Carolinas. This is what it says on page 2. It says, again, in the revised 1688 version of this law, now we're dealing with the slave codes, The burden of capturing runaways was explicitly placed on all white men, all masters, overseers, and other persons whatsoever. So you see how not just those that was in power had the authority to capture us, to handle us, but it says here, it says, and other persons whatsoever who were required to give wandering slaves with no tickets a sound whipping. Right? We see this happening right now. This is where you start getting into militias. This is where you start getting into vigilantes. But you see how everyone was empowered from the white community per se to call themselves apprehending us, to become police officers. Like we saw what happened with Ahmaud Arbery down in Georgia. They weren't police officers, but guess what? They felt empowered to do what they did. And look what happened to them right now. They're still not dealing with any type of penalties right now. When we look at what happened to Trayvon Martin down in Florida, George Zimmerman was a wannabe law enforcement. And look at what happened. He still got off. And look at what's happening, like someone pointed in here, the Karens and so forth. Look at all of them feel empowered to ask us for proof. So notice what you see here. Required to give wandering slaves with no tickets a sound whipping. So this is where you get receipts from. That's why I don't even like saying I have receipts, right? Because any slave that did not have a ticket or a receipt and they were asked for one, that person can be apprehended. That person could be whipped by anyone. So it goes on to say, and detain them until the owner could retrieve them. The law now mandated that bondsmen had passes when leaving their plantation. This is similar to the hall pass. You know what I mean? Getting a pass to go to the restroom, doing something that's natural to you, have to get permission. And even in the times of our ancestors enslaved, they had to get permission. They didn't marry like we think they were. They were shacking up. They were not married. They just got permission to go over to another cabin, but they were not legally married, because that will put the slave owners in trouble for messing with a married man or messing with a married woman. All right. But anyway, let me just touch on a couple more things and I'll turn it over to you guys. It says, right, the law now mandated that bondsmen had passes when leaving their plantation, as it is absolutely necessary to the safety of the place. The historian Hilary Beckles has observed that in this sense, the entire white community, notice what it says, the entire white community. Let me say it in slow motion from my brother Jay. The entire white community function under the law as a collective police force. And we still see these behaviors today, these inherited behaviors handed down by way of DNA. To this day, we still see this happening right now, right? So another portion, let's go to page 6 of here. It says, Southern whites feared their slaves and needed mastery over them. The beginnings of a formal organized public slave patrol system in the antebellum South can be traced to the private, informal, and sometimes voluntary efforts of Spanish and individual colonists in the New World had to experience difficulty controlling their slaves before the rest of the white community would intervene to help restrict slave behavior. Spaniards might entice English colonists, slaves, to freedom by giving bondsmen a safe haven as runaways, or by encouraging them to act as fifth column forces during battle. So fugitive bondsmen caused recurring trouble for Spanish Portuguese settlers. By the 1520s, runaways already posed problems for Spaniard authorities in colonial Mexico. Fugitives had to be hunted down lest they inspired others to flee. But the last page I want to highlight real quick, going back to page 11. It says the historian Richard Dunn has written that overseas were expected to keep the Negro cabins under close surveillance. Whoa, wait a minute. Doesn't this sound familiar? They were required to watch over our communities. I mean, it says in close surveillance, searching twice a month for stolen goods, clubs, wooden swords. Wait a minute. They want to keep us under wrap to make sure we're not stealing, but they stole us as a people. Right? So it goes on to say real quick, unlike in the Spanish colonies, few indications suggest that white Barbadians used former bondsmen as slave catchers and the militia. The failure of private paid slave catchers in the 1650s may have influenced the 1661 slave code. You could say slave code, black code, Negro code, because it was all interchangeable at this time. The first comprehensive law regulating slaves in Barbados, the new law shifted the job of slave control firmly onto the shoulders of all whites, not just overseers. The preamble to the Act for the Better Ordering of Governing of Negroes revealed the motivating impulse behind the law's enactment. The slaves were a heathenish, brutish, and dangerous kind of people. Doesn't it sound familiar? Doesn't it sound like the stereotypes that we still deal with today? Saying that we are what? A heathen. We're heathen. We're brutish. Right? We're dangerous. Oh, I thought he was trying to rob me. He looked at me funny. I got nervous. Just the way that they were coming down the streets, we had to walk on the other side of the street. I just felt uncomfortable. Right? You see the Karens, brother man, not even thinking about her. She come up to him, but she feel threatened. She come up to him. Right? So last point here, let's see here. It says here, who had to be controlled, their propensity to wander away from the master's plantation, either to run away deliberately or to steal goods, then resell them for personal gain, had long been the bane of Barbadian planters' lives. Constables and other white Barbadians shared responsible for apprehending runaways. Notice other people could just apprehend us, right? They could just apprehend us. Right? So I could show more here, but I don't want to go into geek mode here because I'm going through geek mode here a little bit. But Jay and what do you think? And Shawnee, what do you think, Sister Shawnee?
Oh, I have something to say, Pastor, about that.
All right. Well, let Jay go first then.
Okay.
Go ahead, Brother Jay.
Well, I got a couple of things to say myself. One is the real reason why they have this full surveillance on us. They're scared folks. They are scared folks. They know that as soon as we rise up, we can do some damage. So first and foremost, it's not so much about us stealing things, but it's about us raising up and going against them. It happened all the way back. Remember when we were in Egypt, it was the same thing. Pharaoh, the new Pharaoh, man, he's like, they're multiplying. We got to do something about this, right? Because as soon as they side with our enemies, it's over for us, right? So they set over what? Taskmasters. They set taskmasters over us. So, the same thing back then, it's happening even today. They're scared of us. They see, look, through all of the atrocities we've been through all the diabolical schemes that they planned on us, even with the Tuskegee experiments, just to name, that's just hitting the tip of the iceberg. We're still surviving. We're still thriving, even with us killing each other. And I'm not saying that that's right, but we're even killing each other. And guess what? We're still multiplying. We're still growing. And the last thing they want to do is for us to come together, which is the hardest thing for us to do. But for us to come together and, again, start venturing out on our own, they see that as a clear threat. It's a threat even to national security, put it that way. So they want to make sure that we continue to remain docile and in check. Otherwise, they see us getting ahead of them and overthrowing them. All right. There was something else I lost my train of thought. It'll come back to me. But that, first and foremost, yeah, they fear us as a people, and they not just as a people, but a people that can potentially come together and overthrow their government. That's what they see.
Absolutely, absolutely, and that's the goal, to keep us kind of using desegregation to keep us divided among each other.
Right.
Because
That
when it
was
was
my other
segregated,
point.
we came together.
Right.
Desegregation now makes it harder for us to come together.
Right.
You know, and I believe that tool has done so much damage to our community. You gonna say
Right.
something, Jay?
Yeah, and that was my other point. We don't only need to be concerned about the slave patrol, but we also need to be concerned about people who are skin folk but not kinfolk. I believe Yacoba Teo Ministry uses that term, skin folk but not kinfolk. I love that. But the thing is, there are people that are like us that are also against us, and that's that's preventing us as well from coming together. I don't know if you've seen that movie, Pastor, The Black Messiah, I believe it is. Have you seen that movie?
Yeah, I've seen it.
Where they had the Judas character come in and infiltrate the Black Panthers and overthrow them. Yeah,
Yeah.
we got people that this is real. I mean, it's not fictional. It's real. There are people out there like that. We have agents among us who look to do what? To keep us divided, segregated, apart from each other, and not coming together as a people. You know, never mind how, they're still shooting us in our cars, right? They're still shooting us in our homes, right? We're safe nowhere. Why? Again, because of the fear. They fear us. But even more so, we got people, which is detrimental to our community, to our nationality. We have people who are skin folk, but not kinfolk. They're against us. And that's all I need to say.
And to that point, the Messiah even talked about it. You know, he said that there will be what? Wolves in sheep's clothing.
That's right.
In other words, the deception is going to look just like us.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to look just like us, talk just like us, but the spirit is going to be different. And I oftentimes say this internally, that you have a lot of Israelites behaving under the spirit of Jacob. See, people may not catch that. There's Jacob, right? Reputation started out good until he got caught up in scheming to undermine his own brother. He and his moms, came up with a scheme,
That's
deceived his own father, deceived his own brother. So his reputation was known as what? A heel grabber, a bucket of crab, Sandra. So many of us, of our brothers and sisters, they may be blood descendants of us, but they operate under the spirit of Jacob, right? Israel was what? Overcomer. Israel was was the newness, the new Jacob, so to speak. And he was known as what? Someone that was holding on to the promise, holding on for the change, holding on for having faith and knowing that the Most High, I just determined that the Most High to bless him. Right? But Jacob is the heel grabber. Right? And so many of our brothers and sisters, they are operating under the spirit of Jacob. And truth be told, Jacob was the first one to steal someone's identity in the scripture. He pretended to be Esau, not Esau pretending to be Jacob. So again, there's a lot of brothers and sisters that's operating under the spirit of Jacob, but not under the spirit of Israel. Go ahead, Sister Shawnee.
Well, I want to say, first of all, thank you, brother J High Style, because I was going to speak on Pharaoh. So we was thinking the same thing. But I just want to point out in dealing with Egypt, and this is right out of the playbook that Pastor Kelly teaches us about. Because if you notice one thing, in Exodus 2, it says that the Pharaoh, he feared Israel because we were numerous and we outnumbered the Egyptians in their own homeland. Now bring that around to the time of slavery. The slaves outnumbered our slave masters and the rest of the colonizers that was around, and they feared us. Now, another thing I wanted to point out was Pastor Kelly spoke about the slave patrol. Moses had a slave patrol on him. Did not Pharaoh send out men to track him down and bring him back to Pharaoh? Yes, he did. So even Moses had a slave patrol that was after him. And another thing I wanted to point out that Pastor was talking about was that hall pass thing really got me, Pastor. It really got me, because that's exactly what they did. They just did a new playbook and they started calling it a hall pass. But it's the same thing as as papers to travel that was given to us by our slave masters. And I'm gonna say this, family. They have us under surveillance more than you think they do.
Right.
They have us under surveillance more than you think they do. They watch everything that we do, even from the time that we give birth in hospitals to the oldest in Israel in senior citizen homes. Family, they are watching us because they're seeing more and more of us waking up. So the more we wake up, the more they have to speed up things because they know that their time is short. And the last thing I want to say is this. When Pastor Kelly was talking about how they would put not only was the white colonizers allowed to put their hands on us, but there was others. I would like for you to talk about those others, Pastor. And it just made me think about, we really have no power to fight against them, that they feel so free to put their hands on us and do anything to us that they think that they want to do, that they feel like doing to us. Everything from lynching us to shooting us, like Brother Jay Highstyle said. I like your name. That it makes me think about somebody breakdancing every time I see your name. That's all I have to say, Pastor.
That sound familiar, right, Jay Highstyle?
Sure does.
Because I said the same thing. I was like, when I first saw his name, I was like, hey, that made me think about all back in the day when I used to do my breakdancing.
Well, it's from back in the day for sure.
Well, you know, going back to the playbook of Pharaoh, Exodus chapter 1, verse 22 says this, right? This is after the midwives came to him and said, look, the women of Israel is built a different way. They fear the Most High. They're not doing what we want them to do. They're not buying it. They're going against the rules. Well, this is what happened. This is the new plan. And Pharaoh charged all his people, saying, every son that is born ye shall cast into the river, and every daughter ye shall save. So he gave permission to everyone to kill the son. It's right. The playbook is right there. So we see the same thing happening today. That, you know, we see in the behaviors because their ancestors gave them the permission, empowered them to do what? Come into our communities and keep us under, as you pointed out, Jay, close surveillance.
Right.
That close surveillance doesn't necessarily mean that they have a camera. It's just got an extra set of eyes watching them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so, and the last point I want to make here too is in this article I have up here by STMU History Media. I didn't want to play the whole thing, but just to give you an idea of just how cruel these guys were. Like, if one of our ancestors hit a Christian, notice what they call them, shall hit a Christian, right? Because, hey, you know, they fighting, they're trying to get out, they're trying to free, they don't want to be beaten by these guys. So if one hits a Christian, right, it says for their first offense, they will be severely whipped by the constable. For his second offense, they shall have. It says of nature, he shall severely be whipped. Well, he shall be severely whipped. Excuse me. His nose slit. Think about the brutality. His nose slit. Guess what they slit his nose with? The fleur de lis. That same symbol that's on the New Orleans Saints helmet that many of our brothers and sisters are addicted to football but can't let go. You know, that same symbol that you see in churches. You even see those on the old school Stacey Adams shoes. You see that fleur de lis everywhere.
Wow.
So they use that, sharpen the edges. They use that fleur de lis to put a slit down the center of their nose. And then what they would do is put their face over the heat. So that way the heat would cause the sore in the nose to open up and blister. So that way they're forever deformed. And then it also says, and be burnt in some part of his face with a hot iron. And then look at what the sub-entry say. It says, and being brutish slaves. What do they say? Being basically barbarians. That's what they refer to us still today. They deserve not for the baseness of their condition to be tried by the legal trial of 12 men, saying that we're not entitled to go to court and be defended by the justice system. That's what they're saying. And it goes on to say, his Article 3, and I'll wrap up right here. And it is further enacted and ordained that if any Negro or other slave under punishment by his master unfortunately shall suffer in life or member, which seldom happens, no person whatsoever shall be liable for any fine thereof or therefore. So it's saying that, look, if they kill us, they wrong about it, they still would not be held accountable. Aren't we seeing the same behaviors today? Aren't we seeing the same? We see this play out. This is where all of what we see today comes from. Nothing new under the sun. Jay Highstyle, anything you want to share as we get ready to wrap up?
You know, when you said barbarians, that rings a bell because I've been doing a little research on those that are against the Roman Catholic Church. And basically what we see are, actually the Roman Empire. And basically what they do is they coin those that are against the Roman Empire, they coin them as being barbarians. I don't know if you knew that, Pastor.
Yeah.
So it's very interesting that they coin us as well as being barbarians. That's something that's an eye opener for me right there. But other than that, man, we got a lot of work to do. We definitely have a lot of work to do. And first and foremost, as I always say, we need to turn to the Most High, humble ourselves, turn from our wicked ways. He'll acknowledge us and heal our land. And that's where we're at right now. Then from that point, we can move forward with the Most High on our side. Again, if he's on our side, if he's for us, who can be against us? We have to get on the Most High side. It's a good thing to wake up. But like Sister Shawnee was even saying, where do we go from here now that we woke, right? We have to get on the Most High side. And then from there, move forward. We can't do it without him. Without him, we can do nothing. But with him, all things are possible.
That's right. How you doing? Not just wake up, get out of bed. Right. Many of us are awakened, but still want to stay in bed.
Right.
The Messiah had to tell the man that was dealing with issues of walking for almost 38 years. He told him, rise up, get out of your bed and walk. You know, many of us are awake just like he is. He was awake in his bed. He was cool with it, right? And the Messiah had to finally say, look, get up. And some of us are still in bed, awake, know what's going on, but looking for someone to do something that we already have the power to do. Absolutely. You know, so you hit that right on the nail, Jay Highstar. We have to seek the Most High. What's that? First Chronicles 7:14 or Second Chronicles correction, 7:14. If my
Mhm.
people that are called
Which
by
are
my
called by
name
my
shall
name.
humble themselves, seek
Right,
my
right.
face, turn
Mm-hmm.
from their wicked ways. But guess
Absolutely.
what? Though we have to do all of those together, not pick and choose which
Right.
one we'll do, and it has to
Right.
be a continuous thing. Not once say I turned from my wicked way on this day, but I went back to it on the next day. We have to do all these things, and make it a habit, be consistent in it. That's
Mm-hmm.
interchangeable with the word faith. Then once we do that, he says, then he'll
Mm-hmm.
hear from heaven.
Right. He'll be
And then once
pleased
he
with
hear
that.
from heaven,
Absolutely.
then he'll heal the land.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So
Mm-hmm.
we have to make sure, family, that is the conditional statement that the Most High put in place for his people. It's a conditional statement. If we do this, if we do the things that he says true, then we'll see the results from that. So I appreciate that comment. Jay Highsell. Shawnee, did you have anything you want to share before we wrap up? And Jay, I'll give you the final word before we wrap up. Go ahead, Sister Shawnee.
Yes, I do. I agree with my brother Jay Highstyle, and I agree with my pastor, Pastor Kelly, on everything that you guys have said. I just want to say something to my Haitian brothers and sisters. There are a lot of us in America that truly do care about you, and we're ready to make that move and to fight for you. I just want you to know that we love you, and we're thinking of you, and we care about you, and we see what's going on. And I also too want to say that Pastor Kelly, what you and brother spoke about is so true about our neighborhoods, because the Klan, somebody that was in the Klan, they leaked and sent
Oh, we lost Sister Shawnee. Okay. Yeah, I guess it's one of those nights. Here she go.
As I was saying, they leaked to Brother Phil Scott the Klan's manifesto for the Black community in America. And one of the things they said that was from the 60s going forward, but they was going to kick it into high gear starting in the mid 70s. They were going to begin to infiltrate the Black community and try to gentrify it. And we see that their plan is in full effect. And anybody that wants to read that manifesto, all they have to do is go over to Phil Scott's page, go to the month of March, click on a couple of videos, and his link, the link to the manifesto will be in the description box. And you can read it for yourself. The Klan has been planning this for decades against us. And the last thing I want to say is this, brothers and sisters, please make that phone call tomorrow for our brothers and sisters that are at the border. Make that phone call tomorrow to your governor and to your state senator. If you can't speak to them directly, leave a message. And the very last thing I'm going to say before I exit, because I just remembered, is what I spoke to you about earlier today, Pastor Kelly. Roland Martin is a Haitian American. The young lady that's working in the White House that went out so hard for Joe Biden, Bernice or Pretty something. We all know who she is. She went so hard for President Biden. She is first generation Haitian, and neither one of them are talking right now. Neither one of them. And that goes with what Jay's Highstyle said. Just because they look like us, just because they are us, it doesn't mean that they're for us. And that's really all I wanted to say, Pastor. Thank you for your time. Brother Jay Highstyle, you the man. You the man. You the Hebrew brother.
Yeah,
and everybody have a good night.
Appreciate it. And even to that point where Sister Shawnee pointed out, though, is, I saw Roland Martin finally did a video, but it was only like 2 or 3 minutes. Wow. It wasn't a, like he would do with any other thing, try to really go into depth and detail about it. It was just kind of brushed right over. We need to talk about it. Not just talk about it. We need to do some stuff about it. We need to say enough is enough.
Absolutely.
And if we just understood the power, I think one of you guys mentioned it about the finances. They understand the power of our finances. But the problem is we don't. And matter of fact, I'm going to upload the video, How to Sell to a Negro, for everyone to see that they understand the power of our spending. If we don't spend, guess what? They will come knocking on our doors to try to see why we're not spending. And offer to make changes. You know, if you come from being a Democrat, unregistered as being a Democrat, unregistered as being a Republican, and you just register as being either non-affiliate or independent, if we all did that as a people, even if 5 million of our people did that, I guarantee you it is sin, and it will echo throughout this entire country. They'll be nervous then. We don't own manufactured companies. We don't own, any of the Fortune 500 companies and those things. So the only next best thing that we have is our voice. Actually, that's a greater thing that we have is our voice and coming together and do things in unison as a people. But with that being said, Brother Jay, any final words you want to give to people? Because I know this was, a touchy subject to deal with, especially, again, with what's happening with our brothers and sisters in Haiti and family. We are the same people. I want to reiterate that. That's not happening to that's just happening to them over there. No, whatever happens to them, it affects us over here. Whatever happens to us over here, it affects them over there. Why? Because we are the same people. That's biblical. One family can have an effect on the entire nation. All right. So let's make sure we stay prayed up. Let's see whatever we can do. Like Sister Shawnee pointed out, be active, contact your city council, go through the proper channels to make your concerns, to make sure that they're known among those people that are representing your community. So again, appreciate everyone for tuning in tonight. Jay, did you want to close us out with any final words?
Yeah. Right now, here's a perfect metaphor. Right now, we're crawling, folks. We're waking up. We're falling in line. We know that we need to do certain things. But after a while, just like a baby crawls, after a while, they got to get up on their own 2 feet and walk. So we're taking step by step. As long as we're going in the right direction, we're doing good. After a while, we got to get up and walk. Just like the pastor said earlier, when Jesus told the lame man, he said, rise up off your bed, take your bed, and walk. We got to do the same thing. We got to rise up and we got to walk.
Amen. So let me give you a couple of 3 pieces out here. Let's give a 3-piece to the Biden administration or how they're handling the things with our brothers and sisters down in Haiti. Let's give a 3-piece. Let's throw out the Black Caucus, because they need to make sure that more that they take victory in more than just trying to make sure that none of us have to fear another person have to fear having a knee to the back of our necks. That's nothing right there. We're still being murdered. We're still being treated, with disrespect, as we just see on display with our Haitian brothers and sisters. All right. So, and also let's toss out some of the stuff that is going on, this crazy doctrine that's causing a delusion among our community. Let's toss out some of the doctrines of Christianity, some of the doctrines of Catholicism, some of the doctrines of Islam, and some of those other belief systems, and get back to the basics. Let's give it a 3-piece and a toss out. All right. So with that being said, family, appreciate you guys. Remember, Exodus chapter 14, verse 13 and 14 says, as Most High gave Moses instructions to say this to Israel, he said, fear ye not, stand still, see the salvation of the Most High. These Egyptians that you see here today will never have power over you ever again. The Most High will fight for you, but you have to hold your peace. You have to be quiet. We have to stop talking so much and start really paying attention to the movement of Yah. So with that being said, Shalom.